Hi Flosstube, welcome back to Snickerdoodle Stitch. My name is Kathleen and this is a channel about cross stitch. If it's your first time here, welcome, and if you're returning, thanks so much for joining me again. So I had planned on doing this anyway, and it's a good thing I did because I've been a little distracted and haven't gotten a whole lot of stitching done in the last month. Got distracted with the holidays and just taking care of like things around the house and doctor's appointments and that kind of nonsense. And then I was doing a couple jigsaw puzzles, so I was a little distracted doing that instead of stitching in my evenings. But I'm back to stitching, and for this episode, today is Saturday, January 13th, I think. I'm just going to go through the finishes that I had in 2023, the things that I did as FFOs. So not things I just finished stitching, and a couple of them I had finished stitching previously. So I'm going to start out with a few that anybody who regularly watches me hasn't seen before, or you've seen them in progress, but you haven't seen them fully finished. And then I will go through everything that I finished last year. So for anybody that regularly watches me, you can stop watching after the new stuff, or you're welcome to keep watching. But just a heads up, that's the order of things today. And then it goes kind of seasonally. So I'm going to go through the couple things that I have FFO'd just since I last shared things, and then I'm going to start with winter, spring, and just go through the year. So I'll put chapters in. If there's seasons you're not interested in, you can skip those, but we will dive right in. So first thing I finished, and I am so glad to have this done, it was the Zara Design Studio. She's on Etsy, Motifs Temperature Records. So this was the pattern. It's a temperature chart. Yeah, I've done this. I probably will not do another temperature chart. So I got bored with working on it, and it's not one of those things, you know, like if you got a big project like a Mira or even a sampler or a couple of the other things I'm going to show, you kind of see your progress. And this, it was just the same thing over and over again, and it got boring. But it is finished. It is framed. I'm not sure how long I'm going to leave it framed. It's actually in the frame straight, but it's a shadow box frame. So that is my finished piece. I'm not in love with the frame, but I'm not in love with the piece, so that's okay. Actually, the piece is pretty. I just got bored with stitching on it. It wasn't a huge time commitment as far as temperature charts go. You know, each square is 5 by 5. And they're not fully filled in, so you had anywhere from like, I don't know, 10 to 15 stitches a day to keep up with it, and I did keep up with it. I realized early on that if I didn't keep up with it, it was never going to get finished because just stitching this would be a little tedious. But there it is. It's finished and it's framed, and I will probably keep it in here. Well, I don't know. It may end up going in like a stitch scrapbook. Yeah, we'll see. For now, it's framed and it's ready to go up, and I'm very happy with it. This next piece is from, I don't have the pattern here. It's from, I thought I did though. I got so much stuff here. It's from Little Dove Designs, and I think it was called Home for Christmas. And it is finished and it's framed. Here it is, so you can see the whole thing. I love this piece. My LNS, one of my LNS, the Strawberry Sampler in Exton, PA, had this stitched up, and I fell in love with it there. And then they never had the pattern. I checked there a couple times because I like to buy, if I see something in a shop, they've invested the time or the money in stitching the piece, and so I want to give them my business. But they just never had the pattern. So I finally got a PDF download and did it from that. And it's just DMC. And it just goes row by row. So I'm really happy with this piece. It is to say home on the mailbox and for Christmas right in this gray space. And I did leave that off intentionally because for me this will work as just kind of a winter piece, especially when you've got like the little hearts up here. Kind of works for February. There are some you know, these are like tree light bulbs and gingerbread men. So, and we've got candy canes down here. So there is definitely some Christmas motifs, but for the colors in my house and my decor, this will work through the winter. And that's how I intend to hang it, so, or use it. The frame, this is the one I got from Art to Frames. Was very happy with the service. My frame came in like a week. I needed, this was a size that there was no way I could accommodate it with a, you know, off the shelf frame or anything like that. And I didn't have anything in stash from thrifting that would work. But I was really happy with it, except that they said the frame was white and it was really more of an antiqued white. And so I did have to actually paint it. So I spray painted the frame and I wasn't happy about it. There was a frame that I liked better that said it was off-white and I wanted a true white, and so that was why I got this one, but I'm happy with it. So that's my finished piece there. And then this one, this is actually a re-FFO. So this was stitched back in 1986. I think the pattern was from Cross My Heart, but I could be wrong. I don't have the pattern any longer. And I'll put a picture in up here with what it looked like before. It was in a hoop that had like a ruffle around it and some lace. It was very 1980s. I still liked the piece though, and it had a lot of stitching in it. And this thing is, well, actually I bought it at a thrift shop, but Hobby Lobby sells them. It had a rooster in the middle. It was for like a kitchen, and I had thought I might have to paint this to make it work, but it actually works with the color as is. My piece, I did just lace this onto the hoop. The hoop was the perfect size. I think it was probably designed for like a Sudbury house round frame. So it's exactly 9-inch hoop size. And so I did just go ahead and leave it on the hoop that it was on and laced it, since there's not the outer hoop holding it tight, which is all it was holding it before. I hadn't glued it, thank heavens. I wasn't sure when I had the bright idea to re-FFO it if I had hot glued it or something crazy from the 80s. But so anyway, it was a little bit too small, and this metal piece was actually it needed something to make it stand out more. So I did make this cording in this green, which is a green that's actually in here, I'm pretty sure. But that's the finished piece. And he's still cute. I kind of wish I didn't have the year over there, but that's okay. It is sort of 1980s colors. That's all right. I'm happy with it. In my thrift store plate, I have another one of those metal things. You can find them at the like end of seasons in Hobby Lobby on clearance. And have this one came from a thrift store, but I have another one that's a yellow goldish color. And they're nice to have on hand to put something round in, because round frames are hard to find or very expensive. This next piece I actually just found when I took my Christmas tree down just today. I would actually have left it up. I loved having it here in the office. It was very cozy. But when I was on a call with my VP and he commented on the Christmas tree, I wasn't sure he believed me that I really just wanted to still have it up, because he's like, yeah, I know it's so much work to put them up and then to take them down, and I didn't want him thinking that I'm lazy and that that's the reason the Christmas tree was still up. So I took my tree down in here. I did take down most of my Christmas decorations and the rest of the house. I had 3 Christmas trees this year because I lost my mind. But I did leave the one up in my family room. I just love having the Christmas tree. I love having the lights. I love looking, that's my tree that's all done with mice. I love looking at all my mice. So that one's staying up for a while. It may not come down till spring. Anywho, when I was putting away my Christmas stuff, I found a piece that I had looked for back when I was showing some of my other older pieces. I don't know who this pattern was from, but this would have been stitched in the early 90s too. And that whole snowman and the snowballs and everything, I don't, maybe you can see it's kind of picking up a glare. You can see a little bit of sparkle. They're all done with Krynic in there. My frame's gotten a little scraped up here over the years. I haven't used this in a while. I love the mouse snowman, but the mice themselves, they need rounder faces. They're a little bit rat-like. And so I don't love this one anymore. But I found it in when I was packing away Christmas, I found that. Okay, now I'm going to move into winter because I'm getting ready to put these pieces out. So I hauled them out. You have seen these before, so if you're one of my regular watchers, from here on, I think it's all stuff that you've seen before. But you're welcome to keep watching. This is Blackbird Designs, and I can't remember the name of him. Oh, I meant to bring my iPad in. I had the patterns all written down. He's Blackbird Designs. He's on a wooden snowflake. It was plain colored from Joann's, I think. I don't, one of the Michael's, Joann's, one of those two, I think. And I spray painted it like a brushed nickel silver spray paint, and he's covered on the back just with some felt to keep just to make the back look a little bit neater. But that's a Blackbird design. And he stitched in all the cut floor. I think it's Weeks. It's one of the overdyes. This is a Teresa Kogut. And I was very excited because it finishes, it is on 28 count white chalk called Babbling Brook, Lugana. And I did use 28 count because that finishes it just a hair under 4x6. So I was able to use this frame from Home Goods. Sorry. And I did see just today that they still have these frames. But it's exactly the colors that are in his little bow tie. I was looking for a white frame to use with him, and I looked in Home Goods for a white frame, had a white frame in my hand, and then spotted this one and went, oh, I think that might be the same colors. And so I took a chance and bought it, and it really was exactly. So he's all done in DMC except for all of the white. And I've mentioned before that I hate stitching white. It's hard to make it look neat, and it's boring. But this I'm really happy with. And this, one of my LNS's, Stitches Unlimited in Pencil Inlets, recommended Splendor Silk. So Splendor comes on like a little card, and it's a little less expensive than some of the other silks. So I think it's like $4.50 or $5. Just it's right in that ballpark per card, but then it's more yards, and it's 12 strand. And you use the same number of strands of it as you would with DMC. But because silk isn't as, it hasn't been like smoothed down, so it poofs up a little more and gives a little bit better coverage. And so I really thank them for that tip, because that has become one of my favorite weights to use to do things like snowmen. But I'm really happy with him, and I'm excited because now it's winter. I finished him. Well, I didn't frame him, I don't think, until like February or March. Winter was almost over when I got him framed last year. This next one is from the Snowman Collector series from Cottage Garden Samplings. And he stitched on 32 count Fiber on a Whim buttermilk. And there he is up close, and he is all in the called for floss except the white, and the white I did again use the Splendor. And the frame is just a thrift store find. I kind of wish I had a bigger frame, but yeah, I have him all done. He's staying in this, but he would maybe look better with a heavier frame. I'm happy with him. All right, that is the end of the winter stuff. No. Let's see, that's Christmas. Oh, I'm with Christmas. I'm gonna call this guy. Oh, he's got a Christmas ornament stuck to him. I'm gonna call this one winter too, even though I've had him up because I love this one. This is Margaret Sherry. She's an artist who often has needlework designs in World of Cross Stitch, I think. It's one of the British cross stitch magazines. And I knew her artwork first from rubber stamping. Her stamps are licensed by Penny Black. And so I have a ton of their stamps because I love the cute little mice. And I love her cats, and she often mixes the two together. But this was a kit that I bought in the magazine rack at Joann's. And it's a piece that got me back into stitching a few years back. So I don't know if I have the dates on here. I finished it in 2022. I just framed it this year. It took me a while to find a frame that was the right dimensions for it to work, and I didn't want to pay for custom framings, so. But this is one, I love this one. I love Margaret Sherry. All right, now I am into, I'll jump to Easter. So this is Scattered Eggs from Shepherd's Bush, and it is done on 10 count cream cork, and it's 4/2. It's pretty much all the called for. I did have to, the pattern has different buttons. Oh, but I had to get creative with that because I did this because I did this on 10 count, and so it's huge. It's normally a little pin cushion, and instead I have, this is a standard pillow form, so 10 by 14 maybe. And then I've got little bunnies on the back. So this year I didn't finish this until I stitched it around Easter. It didn't get fully finished until, I don't know, late summer. So this will be my first Easter that I'll get to use this. I'm very excited about that. And I have my usual, I've got a zipper on it so that I've got some other scatter patterns. I've got the Christmas one, I think a Valentine's one. I don't know, I picked them up on a freebie table somewhere. So my plan is to do some different pillow different pillows, and with the zipper I can just use the same pillow form. It's much easier, or takes up less space to just store the pillow cover for the season instead of having entire seasonal pillows to have to store. These two are from Shannon Christine Designs, and they're on 14 count mystery fabric. It's a kind of mottled cloud looking blue, but this is Happy Easter and Peep Peep, and they're just so cute. And it's got little, I did the same stripy fabric, so these go in one of my little milk glass bowls. I did have these out at Easter. I had them in a bowl with a couple porcelain eggs that I have this year. So I got these done back around Easter time. Let's see how high I can get that to balance. This next one is Margaret de la Gargouille, and oh no, that's who it's from. And it's called Welcome Easter. It's on 28 count, picture this plus pampas. And I'll hold it back first so you can see. I have this one framed with batting underneath. Sometimes I put the batting, sometimes things are stretched tight, and I'm not sure why I did the batting on this one. I don't remember. It feels like wool batting. It's really puffy. In fact, I'm almost wondering if it's 2 layers of wool. I don't think so. Yeah, this was a fun little stitch. I'll hold it up close. Kind of looks not so cute up close, but I just loved all the little bunnies and these little mushroom houses down here. Well, they're scattered around, but I was really happy. That was a fast stitch. So, yeah, how long did it take me? I started at February 16th and I finished at March 12th. So, and this wasn't the only thing I was stitching then. So that one went fast. Especially for the size. All right, now I am into everyday. This one is from Jardin Privé. It's called Tea Break. It's on 32 count linen. And I don't know if you can tell. The fabric is actually, let me find something white. You still can't really tell. The fabric I dyed, and it's actually a really pale pink, modelly pink. This is, I think the red cups were actually pink. I changed, oh yeah, there's my custom DMC, 321666. All right, 3801. Oh, okay, so I changed the red and the teal are different colors than what was charted. I wrote down what I used. So if anybody wants to know what colors I used, oh, I'm getting really bad glare. There we go. If anybody wants to know what colors I used, I do have that written down. But this one does have glass. I mentioned before that I don't use glass, and one of my viewers asked the question, and I haven't replied yet in the comments, because I said something about having gas heat, and so I keep glass on things. So gas heat can be a little dirty. If you have gas or oil heat, if you've ever gone to take a picture off the wall and you see kind of that gray looking ring around it, from years with gas heat, it will do that. So if it's something seasonal or something that quite honestly didn't have a lot of work in it and I just don't care, I won't use glass. But if it's something that's going to be up all the time, or this actually hangs in my kitchen. In kitchens, you'll get a, I mean, I don't know how you get greasy film in places. I don't even really cook with grease, but any of you know what happens in kitchens. So, yeah, so this one has glass on it. Between my gas heat and this going in the kitchen, it has glass. And this hangs up pretty much year round. Well, this year was the first year I got to hang it up. But I started this one in May and finished in June. So it was also just like 4 weeks and it was done. It was a fast stitch. And this is just a stock frame. I think it was supposed to hold like 3 little, like 2x3 pictures or something. It's one of those, what do you call them? Like collage frames. Collage isn't the right word. You know what I mean. So yeah, that hangs in my kitchen. What's next? Sewing Bee. This is from Erica. This is a pattern from Erica Michaels. I think it's called Sewing Bee. And let me get it up close in front of my face so it will focus. Downside to autofocusing cameras. They're smart enough that they recognize the face and want to focus on that and not everything else. So that's why I often have to hold things in front of my face. But this one, it came with the little scissors here. The pattern did, and the little red heart button and a little yellow button up here. This trim I had in stash, and then I covered it on the back with some plaid wool that I got at a quilt show, and it's filled with walnut shells. And I've talked about walnut shells before. You can order them from Home Depot. They're used for sandblasting, ground walnut shells, so that's my preference for filling things. These next 2 things I stitched for May for mental health, for the what's it called, mental health care stitch along. 614 Stitcher hosts it, and it has the hashtag, and it's to stitch something mental health related. And so I picked out this Stitching Mends the Soul. This is from Tiny Modernist, and this is just a 5x7 frame. I found a lot of her patterns fit, like she's designed them, and even sometimes in the pattern says fits a 5x7 frame, and I love that. It just makes it so easy, so inexpensive and easy to just be able to use a standard frame, and it fits perfectly. So I got that one done. And then for that same month, I did this from Val. What is Val's stuff? Val's, oh, Val's Creations. It's Val something. I'll have all of these in the notes, but it's do one thing every day. And I didn't use the colors that are called for in the pattern. I wanted an orange cat. I don't remember if it was orange, or if it wasn't like the right orange. Oh, Val stuff. And this is on 32 count. Picture This plus Mystic. And I started stitching on this at Stitching in the Wild. I bought the fabric and the pattern at it's the cross stitch store in Fort Lauderdale. And so I had the fabric and the pattern that I bought there, and then I just bought a skein of like the color of orange that looked like my old cat. And I mounted it on mat board, or wrapped it around mat board, And then it's just affixed to the front of this really nice journal, which I use as a gratitude journal. So I put something in here every night, something that I'm grateful for from that day. And healthcare professionals, mental health care professionals say that that's one thing that can help. It helps keep us balanced and helps with our mental health, is to focus on what we're grateful for each day. All right, let's see. I've got this milk glass bowl full of some little things that I made. This normally sits on my dining room table, but my dining room table has a big snowman on it right now. So these are, this is a pattern from Stitches by Ethel. It was an exclusive done for Hodgepodge, a needlework store in Strasbourg, PA, for one of their retreats. And I think she was one of the first shops really carrying Stitches by Ethel patterns. For the retreat, and on the pattern it's done as a needle book. And I did a few of these as needle books as well, but they were smalls exchanges. So I didn't do a needle book for myself. I just did a little pin cushion with some Lori Holt fabric on the back. I think that's B Basics. Maybe not. Could be. And then some cute little just pins in there. I love this. This tomato actually has a little teeny tiny pin sticking in it. And then this is a Stitches by Ethel as well. This one was not a Hodgepodge exclusive. And I may have changed the colors on it, because I'm thinking in the picture it's very pink and I went more with reds. I used the same flosses for all of these intentionally so that they would go together. I knew I wanted a dough bowl with all three of these. And then this is a freebie pattern from Fox and Hound. And they've got an entire alphabet as a freebie pattern. And I did the K and put some little lace on here. This one's a plain raw linen, and these were the petty point that I've got the other two on, and then it's just got a little bit of fabric on the back. And I have trim around this one. This one I trimmed the edge with a little rickrack. All right. Then this is another FFO. This was from a Leisure Arts book, and I had these in a frame, and it was matted with this like down below, and I didn't really have anywhere I was gonna hang it, but I really like this little mouse doing her stitching there. And so I tore the whole thing apart and cut it apart and made two little tiny pillows. This one's got brick. Ooh, that looks purple. It's not purple, it's blue. Okay, that's better. The only thing I wish I should have, well, I think I couldn't cut it differently because of the way it was framed before. But there's like these little loops of different colors of floss at the top, and you kind of can't see that with the chenille up here, but she's really cute. See, that's a round mouse face. She doesn't look like a rat. And then another mouse I did was from StitchCon. Their pattern was from Finally a Farmgirl, and this is Mathilda driving the Stitchy bus, and I came home and did this one right away. I put little gingham on the back, but I love this one. And I've got some stash I'm going to show next time. I will get back to stitching. And then I have a ton of stash because I went to two different stores that I don't normally get to. I went down to Baltimore to Stitching Post, and then to Alexandria to shoot, it's another Stitch, In Stitches. Does that sound right? In Stitches. And one of them had Mathilda dressed up like the Easter Bunny. She's so cute. I can't wait to do that one. All right. Then I was into fall. So, sort of in the order that I stitched them, this was a Lizzie Kate, one of the string patterns, Thankful. And it's just mounted on a, they always have these at Hobby Lobby in the summer seasonal stuff. And it's not mounted on there crooked. It's on there with a magnet, and I've just knocked it loose. See, I did it with magnets so that I've got like the kitties. I've got a couple other string patterns that I want to do. And so I put this on with magnets so that I can swap it out. This was super fast. I mean, this takes like 1.5 evenings. I don't even think it took me 2 full evenings to stitch. Probably took me longer to figure out how I wanted to do the fully finish. These two patterns are from With a Needle and Thread. I don't remember the name of the book. It is a booklet, and it has multiple patterns in it. And this is only part of the pattern. This pattern actually had like a crow, I think, pulling the cart full of pumpkins, and I didn't want the crow. I just wanted the little pumpkins. And then I wanted the little witch there with the spider web. Got a little bat pin in that pin cushion. And these are both backed with some Urban Chicks fabric from a Halloween line they had a couple years ago. And I don't think I have my notes on what, I maybe didn't track what I stitched those on. Yeah, I didn't. But I'll put in the notes the name of the book, but some really cute patterns. There's one more in that book that I want to do. And then this, I can't remember who it's from. I keep it in the bowl with those, well, with one of those other two. The witch is going to get some. I've got a couple more that I want to do for my little Halloween bowls, but this was like a really cute little cat. I've got some Halloween pins in there. No pumpkin. This is on, this and this I know are on a little scrap that I had a picture of this plus Heartland. I know what that is, and it looks like 32 count. This is from Blackbird Design, Winds of Autumn. Let me hold it up close. And it is on Fox and Hound Flannel Flower. And I have it in this little tin, which you can see I got at a thrift store for $1. But when I got it in the tin, it just looked a little lost in there, and so I've put this black trim tucked in all the way around just to frame it out a little bit more. And it's got a bunch of batting. It's several layers of batting under there. before I lace the fabric around the round. That's another super fast stitch. It finished a little bigger than what I had envisioned. I had originally planned on putting it in, it was actually a candle holder, base for like a pillar candle, but then it came out and it was like 3/4 of an inch too big. I mean, I knew, I didn't measure, I just in my head thought, oh, I think this will work in there, and then as I'm stitching it, I'm like, that's not going to work in there. But I had this from a thrift store. This is from With Thy Needle and Thread as well, and it should be about this big. I did it on that same 10 count cork that I did the Scatter Eggs pillow, and Salty Yarns had it done this way as a stand-up, and they had these cute little buttons as well. Instead of, she holds a pumpkin, but this is just a button on there instead. So I was really happy with that as a stand-up. And I made the cord, and then it's got a little polka dotted back. But Vanna Pfeiffer's tutorial on stand-ups is fantastic. I could envision in my head, what I was struggling with was trying to figure out how I would know what size to make and attach the base. And if you watch her tutorial, it actually was pretty simple. And then I do a lot of paper arts too, or I used to. I've taken a hiatus from that. But I have a lot of paper cutters, dies for die cutting. And so I have some nested circles, which is basically a circle everything from 1/2 inch out to like probably 5 inches, 5.5 inches, in 1/8 inch increments. So it was, I was able to pick the perfect circle. But really, really happy with that. My first stand-up assembly. This one is from Aury TM, the new Gobbletons, and I just finished this fall. I was working on it at Sweater Weather, and I think I worked on it at Stitch New England, if I can get the card out. Oh, no. All right. Yeah, I just made a note that I finished it at Sweater Weather. This is on 28 count, even weave from Fabric Flair. It's a dream to work on. It's really easy to see. I don't need any special light, any magnification. In fact, I should look for a Fabric Flair project on this, on an even weave from them for my cruise. So it's the new Gobbletons. They should have turkey heads. Anybody who watches me knows I took the turkey heads off and just repeated the geometric pattern. This one, that worked really well. This one, this pattern is actually not symmetrical. This is longer one direction than the other. And so things ran into each other, and I had to tear some out and shift and move it up. But and then the big pumpkin back here, that's just printed on the fabric. If I hold it up close, you can see. But that's of course not stitched. So since that's printed, this stitches pretty quickly. And the frame is pretty sure from a thrift store. It says Mikasa on the back, and I can't think of anywhere that sells Mikasa anything, so I'm thinking thrift store. All right, down to the last season here. I'm worried I'm going to scratch frames stacking them, so excuse me while I fuss for a minute. All right. Okay. I didn't finish this year. I finished this probably 30, well, yeah, a lot of years ago. Could have been 35 years ago, based on the yellowing of the cardboard that it stuck to. 35 years is probably right. But this is one of my favorite Christmas ornaments. I just took it off my tree in the family room. I cross-stitched this forever ago. And I don't know if it was designed to go in this or if I rigged this up, because the back is just cardboard and this ribbon is just taped on the back. So this is just a ring. Yeah, I don't know if that was my invention or if that's how this was kitted. I think, oh, there it says 88. I said 35 years ago. This would have been one of those little tiny kits that they would sell, well, back then up by the register, and they would have been like 99 cents in the craft store. But it's a cute one. Sometimes they were a little goofy looking. I have another one here. This one is also an old stitch, but it had never been FFO'd. So I think it was probably also about 35 years old, but was just on this little tiny piece of, looks like heart hanger maybe. And I finished it. That's from Sweet or Swell. It's one of the Urban Chicks Christmas lines from a few years ago. And then I made the, oh no, I didn't make the braid around the edge is from Joann's. But I finished that one. All right, these are all out of order. This I stitched for sweater weather. I put it on little needle minders for there, but just with a photo of it. But these little snowflakes aren't doing what they're supposed to be doing. Well, I won't fight with it now. The snowflake shouldn't be sticking out this way. I'm not sure what's happening. This was a JBW design from one of her little Christmas card leaflet things. Only it had a reindeer head. It was in red and green, and I think had a reindeer or something on it, maybe a tree. And I made it blues instead, and I just freeformed a little snowflake in the middle. Because I wasn't sure if everybody who was gone to sweater weather celebrated Christmas, so I just wanted a sweater, a non-seasonal sweater. And then I just made it into a hexie and stitched it down on this little pillow. The fabric is a little, it's on Lugana, and it's a little bulky to do the fold around and stitch down as a hexie, but it was okay. And I'm not sure what is happening with these pins, why they're not, or these little snowflake charms, why they're not dangling the way they're supposed to be. Honestly, the little pin is stuck up here because when I sewed the rickrack around, this one got caught inside. And so I needed something to disguise that corner of the pillow, but now I've got pins like flipped around doing something wonky. It's all right. It's about to get packed away. Actually, that Christmas tree is down, so that one will get packed away. That's why a bunch of these are here. This one, oh, my fiber's coming loose. This one is a free pattern from Luminous Fiber Arts. This little joy. There we go. It's stitched with a mystery silk that I got in a D-stash. And I just mounted it on a round piece of mat board, and then put the cording around, and then it's just adhered to this silver star, which came from Hobby Lobby. Just do something different with it. I was looking to see if I had covered the back with fabric, and it feels like felt. I did cover it with something. This one is from, lost a piece. This one is from the Magic of Christmas book, which I've shown a couple of times. And I stitched it and finished it this year. I've got something wonky happening with a piece of the little grains there have come loose. There we go. They're really cute. I love these patterns, but some of them, like this one had, I think, 14 different colors of floss in it. So it's a lot of stitch a few stitches, change colors, stitch a few stitches, change colors, but they're so sweet. And very detailed and delicate for the size. All right, we're almost to the end, folks. I wanted to keep this at an hour, and so far so good. These are from a book called From X's and O's, and they're all mice, and I finished them and glued them on these ornaments I got at a holiday show thing, so I didn't have to paint the wood piece or anything. There's actually like a snowman or a Santa or something underneath. But they're really cute little, here's the mouse in the stocking. These are 1/1 on 25 count white Lugana, which is one of my favorite ways to stitch. Actually it doesn't look white. It's some kind of blue. Oh, you know what? I think it might be one of the vintage, not vintage Stormy Night, that's gray. I can't think what the light blue one is called. And this is Little Mouse with cookies. And then we've got a Little Mouse holding a teeny tiny stocking on the 25. So that's how I finished all three of those the same way. Then I've got some Mathildas. I love the Mathildas with the, oh, why is that fuzzy? I can't even blame my dad's dog on whatever's happening there. I love how the mice often have another really tiny mouse with them. See, that is actually a little teeny tiny mouse right there. Let me go real close so you can see. So making the little gingerbread house. So that's one. It's just, it's like a little frame ornament kit, this was. And then I've got the little going down the chimney, and he has a little mouse up on his head there. They're cuter from afar. Well, the color's better. And then this one, oh, this one I love. This one, he's drinking this little Santa mug, and it's got little marshmallows in the top. You can't tell, but there's little teeny tiny French knots up there. And then he's got bunny slippers on. So he's just too cute. I love the these are finally a Farmgirl Mathildas, which is the name of the little mouse. And I love Mathilda. It's the same Mathilda that was in the Stitchy Bus. Same designer. All right, two left. This one is from Une Croix LeTemps, and it's Noel. And I'm going to hold it back here just so you can see the color better. I saw this one at Needlework Galleria in 2022 and had to have it and do it. It took a little longer to stitch up than you think it would. I think just because it was a lot of there's a lot of color changes and counting, but then there's a lot of long stitch in there. Like all the little pine greens, but I love the simplicity of it, and just with these really simple, you know, little lines suddenly of this really, you know, it looks detailed. These look like little pine cones with snow on them, especially like over here on this end. Those little pine cones. I have another pattern from the same designer, and I can't remember what it is. And last one, anybody who watches me regularly saw this because I just finished it right before Christmas, but this was a stitch along from Primrose Cottage Stitches. Welcome to the North Pole. And this is like a 20-inch long frame. It's a stock frame from Michaels. And this is stitched on 28 count fiber on a wing, milk and honey. And I started it back in June for the stitch along, and other than October, which I did not stitch on this because I really wanted to just do Halloween, and then I caught up and finished in November. But we hold it up close so you can see it a little better. So the stitch along, you did a different row each month. So this was June up here, this Welcome to the North Pole. And then it's got the little snowflakes scattered in each scene that just pulls it together. I love this cocoa stand. I always skip the houses, but. And then we've got little Santa and Mrs. Claus with the sleigh. When I first bought the pattern, I bought it before I knew about the stitch along, and my original intention was to just do some pieces of it. Like I was just gonna do the little guy in the train in the engine, where I wanted this snowman, or like the little cocoa stand. I really love the sled with the gifts in it. So I bought the pattern came, and then I think the next week, Gary from Garon Stitchery was showing the pattern. I had bought it from him, and he was showing the pattern and said that Primrose Cottage Stitches was hosting a stitch along for it. So then I was like, all right, I'll just stitch it for the stitch along. It's a big piece. It was a lot of stitching. You know, it's a lot of solid chunks in here. But it was a lot of fun, and I've raved about their patterns. The patterns are so well done. They're big, they're clear. This was actually a booklet and a 2-page spread for each row. And what I loved the most was on every page they had the color key. Because let's face it, that becomes a hassle when you have to keep like finding that one sheet that has your legend on it. It was really nice having it on the bottom of every single page. So kudos to them for really being thoughtful in their pattern design. So that was my last piece that I finished and FFO'd in 2023. Well, that's not true. The ones that I showed at the very beginning that my regular watchers hadn't seen before, those were actually the last things I FFO'd. The temperature chart, I FFO'd New Year's Eve. So I finished stitching it. I stretched that bad boy. I stuck it in a frame, and I was so glad to be done with that. I have to think, though, this year I think I might like to stitch on something, you know, like a thread a day. I have to think about it. Like, do I want to do that with a really big project that I'm excited about finishing in this lifetime? Or do I want to do that on something like, I have a Teresa Winsler cat that I started like 30 years ago, let's say, maybe even 25. And the part that's left is this border of flowers, which has a tremendous amount of 1/4 and 3/4 stitches and a heck of a lot of back stitching, and so I keep procrastinating working on it, and maybe I just do a thread a day on that bad boy and get it finished, because it's a lot of work already into it. It's a big piece and it's pretty solid. It's got this big Himalayan cat in the middle, so I have to think about that for my plans. But so maybe next episode I'll have figured out what I'm gonna stitch on a little bit every day, and I should have some more stitching done, and I have a ton of haul to show. And I think that's all for this evening. So everybody have a fantastic week. Hopefully it's not too cold or too rainy where you're at. We had crazy rain and wind on Monday. My power was out for 12 hours. Not normal for this time of year. And where I live, it's very urban. All of our power lines are below ground. So we normally only lose power if somebody runs into a transformer. But they said that almost 10% of Delaware was without power on Monday night. I don't know. 12. Mine came back. It went out at 5 and it came back on at 4:30 in the morning. I know because I woke up when everything in the house came back on. You know, lights, the heater, the refrigerator. You don't realize how much noise a house actually makes until the power's out and it's dead quiet and pitch black. And then when everything came back on, of course, that hum, which normally is just, you don't even notice it. Then it was really loud. Anyway, I'm rambling. It's very late. It's almost midnight. So I should call it a night. And thank you all for sticking with me. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.